offer our gratitude, spirits of the East, bringer of light, inspiration, qualities of loving kindness. Extend our gratitude to the South, spirits of fire, power to transform, qualities, sympathetic joy, the ability to extend into another person's happiness. And extending to the West, we offer our gratitude to the spirits of water and all that flows within us. The vast power of compassion. And extending northward, we honor the spirits of earth. Bringer of knowledge, wisdom, qualities of equanimity or non-reaction. Coming back to center. Take a breath. Let me welcome you again. Welcoming you to Holos Institute's second conference in ecopsychology. I must say we've expanded a bit since last year. I want to start out by extending my deep gratitude, first of all, to all of the interns at Holos, which all of this would not be possible if we didn't have a community at Holos Institute that supported us, that supported us and worked in such a wonderful, energetic, loving team of people. So my gratitude to all of you. I'm hoping that as the day rolls on, everyone here will get a chance to meet every single intern at Holos who is here today. You have almost everybody here. But one person. So let me just tell you a little bit about who we are if you don't already know, and we certainly have lots of brochures and flyers outside to tell you about us. We're a small nonprofit counseling center. We are the only psychology counseling center in the Bay Area that's grounded in principles of ecopsychology. So we are really actively trying to interpret and bring into fruition principles of ecopsychology and apply them in a clinical setting. Our main offices are in San Francisco. We have 4 consulting rooms there. We have 1 in Oakland, we have 1 in Petaluma, and we have 2 in Marin, Kentfield, and San Anselmo. So we're kind of spread out. We also come together a lot. We come together and take up this question of what is ecopsychology quite a bit. We offer all kinds of programs. Of course, most of our work is done in the office, seeing clients on the sliding scale. We're very affordable psychotherapy, and we're committed to that. So I encourage you referrals for us. And we also do some outdoor programs. We have some really creative groups. So I'm sure as the day rolls on, you'll get to learn more about that. So let me just frame a little bit about ecopsychology and at least what my perspective on it is. When I was preparing for this, it was last weekend. So everything runs a little late for me. And I was sitting at home and I moved my computer into the dining room and I was trying to come up with an inspiration. I found myself settled in and email and Facebook and internet to distract me. My mind was jumbled. And all of a sudden, that little bird, a junco, came tapping at the window. Look, what is this? And then it would fly over to the apple tree that's in bloom. chirp, then come back to the window and tap, tap, tap. So, well, this is kind of interesting. So I was stuck, so I went into the kitchen to eat. Snacking always helps when I get going. Those anxious moments. The bird followed me, or at least I thought it followed me. The next thing I know, it's tapping at the kitchen window. Tap, tap, tap. That's odd. So, go back to the dining room. It follows me there. Taps on the window again. I walked back into another room, other side of the house. And pretty soon there it was at the door, glass door, tapping. This is strange. What's going on? I settled back at the computer and it came again. At this point, I thought, what are you trying to tell me? And the words that came to my mind were, look up, go out, pay attention, be here. And I realized that the glass that separated us came to feel like a metaphor for life, the ever-present barrier between the inner and the outer vibrant life. I observe through the window, and I can make all sorts of assumptions, but I cannot know this bird, nor touch her, nor become her, if I remain with a sheet of glass between me and the rest of the world. So I left the room, and I stepped outside, and I sat still in a chair near the window. And she would stay in the tree singing to me, chirping, and then jumping back to the windowsill, but looking at me the whole time. She caught my eye. Her eyes locked gazes. She flitted back and forth, but she was very much engaging me. And then she flew off suddenly to a high tree with her wings brushing my arm. And I was amazed. I was touched, and a whole new level of being here had begun. So I went to find some seeds, but all I had at the moment were some sesame seeds. I lined them up on the thin ledge of the dining room window, and I settled back into the computer. The screen's blank, as my head is at this point. Back comes the bird, tapping, chirping. And then she takes the seeds one at a time and pushes them into the glazing between the window and the edge of the window, as if to give me back the seed. Is this an exchange, I thought? Now I know that ornithologists here, and there are at least one I know of, might have an explanation. That's another explanation for this. And I appreciate science. I also appreciate the imagination and the place that opens up in the imaginal space between two beings. I apprehended the bird, and the bird apprehended me. I found myself drawn into engagement, presence, delight. The frayed edges of my mind's myriad of thoughts are rewoven into a cloth of here and now. I thank the bird for calling me to look up, go out, pay attention, be here. So this is ecopsychology in action, in my estimation. It's through an active engagement, physically, psychologically, spiritually, with the natural world, that the soul is woven into present. Place heals. Presence invites peace, invites us to place our wounds in a larger context. It's deeply, profoundly relational. The scars of my youth, the scars on my heart, from too long a high fever illness, the scars of love lost, the scars of witnessing my mother's death, too soon, too early for both of us. Dig deep into me. These are wounds my memory will always carry. I can dig into the depths of my history and recall the pain and the jangled circumstances, and perhaps place another dangling piece back into place. And this is the admirable world of insight-oriented analytic psychology. It is very useful to a degree. However, if I lean into the place where I am, if I let myself be, in those sacred places of nature that remind me of the soul home, if I look up, go out, pay attention, be here, these scars begin to dissolve or recede into the background, and I am free to lean forward into my destiny. It's not at all a simple process, but then again, sometimes it is. And this is the basic premise of ecopsychology as I see it. It's a newly emerging field of psychology that parallels the newly emerging consciousness in the collective. It points the way for us to look up, go outside of ourselves, pay attention to what is here, and to be fully here and present. It calls upon us to consider this place we inhabit as a living, spirited being that is in constant interaction with us. So how is it practiced? How is it applied? What does it look like? And these are the questions that always come up when I tell someone I practice ecopsychology. And for many of us here, I think you know what that question feels like when you take a moment and you gulp and you don't quite know what you're going to say. I can make a first attempt here to summarize this, and I'm hoping that the answers to these questions will deepen as this day evolves. And this is the intention, truly, of our day together. So I see the application and practice of ecopsychology as fourfold. And at the first level, there needs to be, in the clinician, in the therapist, a widened awareness of the psyche that considers the environmental context of the client and holds deeply a felt sense of the world and soul. It need not necessarily be overtly expressed to the client, but the awareness must be held. And I think that's an important piece, that it doesn't have to be always talked about. It's just where you center yourself in your own psyche. We're looking up at a wider, earth-based container as we hold the individual experience. We're considering this person's place in the family of things. We are offering them a deeply felt sense of belonging. And it's holding an awareness of this that is ultimately transmitted to the client. At the second level, we can bring into the consultation room the client's awareness and your relationship in place. And it can be as basic as asking a depressed person, how much do you get outdoors? What takes place in nature that a traumatized person can relate to? Or what are the landscapes that speak to that person, that call them back to a sense of belonging and wholeness? Or perhaps what are the places that actually they notice a disturbance? It can be an exploration of inner landscapes. And I hate to use the word imaginal, because for me, there's not much separation between imaginal and real. But the imaginal landscapes that expresses a soul's situation, or even better yet, a place that offers a healing, a place that offers to go to for a return of lost soul parts, a place to regather the bits and pieces of an energetic life eroded by all the stresses of life experience. The journey into an inner landscape that contains all of the collective memory of this earthly place opens up a world where we may first glance the spirits of rocks, trees, animals, and elements, all ready to configure a resolution to a problem, a return to one's essential self, forgiveness, safety, and specific healing. We often find ourselves using metaphors that reflect an image in nature that might express the signature of the client's issue, or one that invites the soul to lean forward into a more whole state of themselves. The image, the place, the sights, the smells, the tastes, the touch, all evoke an embodied experience. And this is an invitation to move toward that and to loosen the holds of the tangled vines and brambles of our historic past. Mindful awareness of the natural cycles of nature invites our own life passages to discover ease and grace. In the next level, we might move into the realm of facilitating the contact with the natural world. Step outside, see what you can discover, see what of your inner workings might be mirrored in the world around you. And for the psychotherapist, this brings suddenly a multitude of new dimensions. Suddenly we have bodies, and there are two bodies in reaction to each other, moving through time and space. There's movement. There's a shared experience, and there's the chance of some new discovery that neither of us are really prepared for. We may see all sorts of new processes that occur when we simply take the client outside. And I hope, by the way, Mary Good is one of our interns, is going to be hosting a table today. She does a lot of that, and she'd love to talk to you about how that works. The freedom of moving through space while accompanied by a guide can unearth so much more psychological material than an office session could ever afford. There are many chances for creativity. An altar might be spontaneously constructed. An encounter with wildlife might pique a memory, or the weather might play out a mood. The client gets to engage in the environment in a mindful, reflective way, gently guided by the therapist. They get to pay attention to something much larger than their ego self. Almost invariably, the contact with the natural world brings about a deep ego shift state. Finally, there's an opportunity to apprehend nature, and in some rare moments to allow ourselves to be apprehended, to truly see and be. The rock might speak to you. The bird offers its wisdom. Plants reveal their medicine. This is a very special transformative moment in doing this work in ecopsychology, where we can merge with the natural world. Our breath becomes the air, our bellies hold the sun, our blood and tears become the rivers, and our bones and flesh become the mountains. In touching that place where there is no separation, we awaken to the level of consciousness. And in this place, we have the power to transform our lives and to transform the world around us. And an interesting thing happens when all of this transformative, deep healing work of ecopsychology is taking place. After all the calling upon the natural world call for a healing, we then see this incredible reciprocity. The individual who has truly opened up to the world cannot ignore it. There's no longer a glass plate through which we stare. The scars on the land become the scars in our heart. We know that the trees we save, so when we are saving ourselves, the pollutants in the air and the oceans are like the emotional toxins of our family's shadows. We can authentically extend into our personal grief and to grieve the threatened places, the dying species. We are not separated in our eyes and souls, are open to a wider level, and it is here that we move out beyond the personal struggles, and the healing is transferred to that greater whole. It's the 11th hour for this planet, and by returning to a place where we love our bodies and souls and can return that love to this earthly body, we stand a chance to turn around the effects of human shadow and ignorance. As psychotherapists and other healing professionals, I believe that it's our duty to evolve this field to include an attention and a reverence for the earth. So please, look up, go out, pay attention, be here. Thank you.